So there are 4 pillars, I'd say, of a seductive conversation. And today you're going to learn all of them. So if you're a guy that, let's say most times guys don't know what to say when they see a pretty girl that they want to meet. Right. And they think they lack confidence, but what they lack is conversation, right? So they're like, she's gorgeous. I want to meet her, but she's probably not going to like me. Mm-hmm. And if I did think she's going to like me, I don't know what I'm going to say. And I'll actually start with an interesting story. I asked a good friend of mine, best friend of mine, he'll know himself. I said good friend just because I didn't want to say best friend. But he'll know this question because he knows I asked it to him. Mm-hmm. And I said to him, and this is what really revealed this for me. Confident guy, as actually a previous trainee, come a long way. I mean, it's beautiful to see. Mm-hmm. And I called him up because I was trying to figure out at the time, what is the core thing that stops most guys from attracting the kind of women they want? What's going on in their head? And I really was trying to I couldn't figure it out. Right. And I said to him, what if we were somewhere in public and I'm walking by, a girl taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, is that your friend?" Right? And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my friend. Oh, I think he's so cute. Mm-hmm. I'd love to meet him." Right? And she's over there with her and her girlfriend. And I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna let him know." She's like, "Okay, cool." And so I walk over to him and I said, "What if I came over and I told you that girl over there that he's also highly attracted to said to me that she was attracted to him. Mm-hmm. And she's down to meet you, excited to meet you, super receptive." And I asked him, "What's the likelihood of you going over and talking to her?" Now, mind you, let's list it out again. She stopped me, said she thought he was attractive. Mm-hmm. She was excited to meet him. And I told him who she was, and he looked at her and said he's highly attracted. So attraction is mutual. Right. I said, "What were the odds of you talking to her?" He said about 50-50. Right. Now, that was interesting because you'd assume it would be 100%. Right. Because you'd think what most guys are concerned about is whether or not the woman would find them attractive. But what I learned is that most guys are actually struggling with the fear of losing the attraction they already had. Mm-hmm. It's not as much, oh, what if I'm not attractive enough? While that can be a factor, it's more of, I don't want to see the sparkle in her eye die again, like so many times before, right? Where I'm like, I'm doing good in the first 30 seconds, first minute, and then bang. Right? Watch her go, "Oh, okay, so I'll see you around." Oh, and he has to walk away and like, damn it. And I've been there, right? I've been there. So we're going to be going over, for that guy, the 4 pillars of seductive conversation, mm-hmm. so that he can ensure that any woman he talks to here on will be glued to his words, glued to his presence, and awaiting the next encounter.
Can you explain the first pillar, which is talking about topics that elevate her power by reflecting yours?
Elevating her power by reflecting yours. So in a previous video, we talked about how all human beings are in the pursuit of more power or more love, right? Love represents being more connected. And power, we could say, roughly refers to becoming more, just growth, right? So growth and love, you could say. And so when I say elevate her power by reflecting yours, it means oftentimes when a guy meets a woman, there are 3 levels of, you could say, penetration that a woman is seeking. There's physical penetration, which guys are already accustomed to, right? There's physical penetration. Right. But there's also emotional penetration, or penetrating the heart and penetrating the mind. So when we talk about elevating her power by reflecting yours, it's about elevating her mind, right? It's about giving her access to insights and information that, as a result of encountering you, will make her life better. So what's an example of that? So let's say I have a homegirl that comes to me, or let's not even use that. Let's say it's a girl I just met, right? And one of the things I'd used to do when I'd meet new women, this will tie into the 4 pillars of we'll call double S, seductive conversation. Well, SC. I was thinking of the seduction sequence. The 4 levels of seductive conversations. One of the first things I do, because one of the fundamental elements is to get to know the woman. So one of the first things I'd always try to figure out is, well, what makes her tick? Like how does she perceive the world? Right. Because there are 2 key factors when you're interacting with a woman that you're considering, which is the first half. Do your authentic expressions harmonize? So basically, if you were being fully yourself and she was being fully herself, do those 2 harmonize? And then we have the actual skill. So you have authenticity is the first part. And then you have the skill, which is the conversation, the escalation, and frankly, all conversation, and anything that has to do with actual sex, right? What are your skills in those areas? Because you may have great personal chemistry, right? You could say that's called personality matching. But you don't have the conversational ability and you don't have the sex ability. And so it's great chemistry, but all these other things on this side of it make it very difficult for you guys to harmonize. So coming back to power and love, and a reflection of your power elevating hers, when I'd meet a woman, I'd ask her what's important to her, right? If I had a lamp and you could have any wish you wanted, what would you ask for? Right? What reality would you create for yourself? What changes would you want in your life? And the reason for that is because I'm trying to see what her values are and what she's in pursuit of. Because I need to know if we align, if I'm going to bring her into my world. Right. But if we don't align romantically, there may be other things that I could share with her that could increase the quality of her life just by a bit of information.
Right. And
so, based upon her answer, let's say that one of the things that, and this was a common one, I procrastinate a lot. In my field of study, in my field of expertise, that's something that I could help somebody with a simple written exercise. Right. So I said, okay, let's say throughout the conversation, I said, I might be able to help you with that. Right. This isn't about trying to help her out so I can get between her legs. This is just a expression of the value man that I am. Right. And so one of the mistakes that we kind of talked about in the last video guys make when conversing with a woman is that they change who they are because they're attracted to her. And so now, if I'm not attracted to the woman, I'm a different person. If I'm attracted to the woman, I'm a different person. Right. And they're inauthentic. And I see it all the time. It's one of the numbers. It's very obvious to me when I see it in the guy's tonality, his nonverbals, facial expression, body language. It's very evident to the woman as well. Right. And so the guy thinks because she hasn't seen how I interact with other women, she thinks your results speak for themselves. Right. It's very evident. And so I deal with all women the same. Right. She could be a supermodel and famous or whoever, or she could be homeless. She's going to be treated with respect, and she's going to be, or have the opportunity to receive some of the light that I have within me. Right. if it's useful and if it makes sense at that time. So when I'd ask a woman this, I'd add value, elevate her mind, penetrate her mind. I'd add information to her life that would benefit her, regardless of whether we ever saw each other again.
Right.
And this is very key. And doing so, it's a little more advanced, but doing so with without the expectation of, well, I'm just doing this because I need to see you again and I'm trying to get your number.
Right.
Right. A truly, quote unquote, even though I don't use this term, high value man means somebody who is highly valuable, not somebody who has a lot of status or a lot of money. If I have status and money and they don't benefit to you, then it's not valuable to you. Remember, status is what you think of me, value is what I give to you. So value is based upon how I benefit everybody else around me. That's what makes everybody go, Vidal is a high value man, because he's highly valuable to us.
Right.
Right. High status is what people have conflated with high value. And so they are in pursuit of status because they want people to look at them in an impressive way, because they're not very impressed with themselves. And so if I could get other people to be impressed with me, then I can ideally be impressed with myself. Right. But when you're valuable, you could be a school teacher in the ghetto and be very valuable. You could have 1 million followers on Twitter and not be valuable.
Right.
Right. So we'll come back. And so as I'm talking to the woman, I'm seeking to understand her so that if there's any value that can be added just from a human to human, her mind can be elevated by information that I can share.
Right.
Right. So that's the first key to a seductive conversationalist. Okay. It's the ability to increase her power by reflecting yours. Because every man has, you could say, areas of knowledge and expertise that he could impart on anybody that he's around. He might not know everything on anything. Nobody does.
Right.
But there's certain areas where he does have value. He does know somebody that, and it's like, boom. And why is that seductive, right? Because people think seduction is merely sexual, right? Seduction just means that person is enticed. Something about your presence that they can't quite put their finger on entices them to want to draw closer to you.
Right.
And so when you create and that penetrate a woman's mind and elevate her mind, elevate her worldview, elevate how she moves through the world so it positively impacts her, you elevate her emotion. So if you elevate her mind, you elevate her emotions. Because now she used to go through the right door. On every time she comes to the grocery, she'd go right. It's like, man, why does this area of my life keep repeating in this negative emotional cycle? Right. You go, oh, did you know that if you go left, oh my God, I didn't know that. Boom, she starts going left. As she starts going left, things start getting better. Guess who she thinks of? You. Mm-hmm. And what is she going to want more of? You. Right. And so that's a form of seduction that is subtle that you can apply to your conversations today.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, that was some high quality information, because that's so true. Like, considering, like, even with meeting you, like, that was the first thing that I got from you was value, just off rip. It wasn't no ulterior motives, no nothing, just straight value. And that's something that you rarely run into, and I don't think men see how useful that is. Like, because every guy has something that they like, some type of knowledge, at least the guy that's taking the time to like build himself in some area,
right? Like,
he has some knowledge that he can provide for a woman, regardless of, like you said, it's not even based on like, oh, am I gonna get in her panties because this is like, right. No, I have value to add to other people, and I think people don't see the value in adding value to other people.
Right. Which is why they tend to not have many people around them. They have very little social connections, very little high-level connections, because they go to take value. Mm-hmm. Where can I take value? How can I take value from this woman?
Right.
Through attention, through validation, through sex.
Right.
Right. And I say take value. Sex doesn't have to be a value take. Mm-hmm. But how you go about it can be more of a give me the sex rather than let's share this experience with each other.
Right.
Right. And yeah, but that's a whole other thing. So we'll just stop it there. If you want to know more, matter of fact, today is what? When this is being recorded, I think this is I don't remember. But whenever you're watching this, the Friday, so I think that would be the 20. Yeah, we're gonna do this live.
The 26th.
The 26th.
Mm-hmm.
So, actually, if you're watching this and you're curious, I recently released the opportunity for 10 guys to join something called Magnetic Charisma, right? Where they learn the art of verbal seduction or seductive conversations.
Yeah. And
initially, I was taking all this time to promote it and all this. Then I realized I was like, I actually want it to be a very intimate group. They're not, all 10 slots aren't open. I believe maybe 7 or so are remaining. And I promoted it to just there was a waiting list of a few guys, and I gave them the opportunity to access it first. And so I want to extend that opportunity to those who are watching this video right now. So the link will be in the description down below. If you're not actually tired of your situation, tired of being lonely, waiting till tomorrow, waiting until, maybe one day when this is together, then I'm going to get If you're not sick and tired of your situation, if you're not sick and tired of being lonely, if you're not sick and tired of seeing opportunity after opportunity for connection, if you're not sick and tired of seeing your potential girlfriend, wife, mother of your kids walk by you, then this is not for you. Like, truly. I was listening to a video earlier. KT, one of my mentors, mentioned how he used to go about marketing, and he thought about it as, would this thing be something that I don't want most people that I care about to experience and know and understand, right? Because what is the person that joins Magnetic Charisma going to get? They're going to get change. What kind of change? They're going to go from not knowing how to talk to a woman and a bunch of other stuff. But primarily that's the core change, because conversation is the game. And so they're going to go from being unconfident, not knowing what to say, to being very confident and knowing exactly what to say so they can attract the women they want wherever they go, in any situation. And so if that's a transformation and change that the person wants in their life, then so be it. But if it's not, then don't waste the time. So if you want more information on that, click the link in the description down below, and you'll see a video under Unlisted that'll tell you everything that you're going to get, because it's far more than I'm going to go into in this video. If you're not interested, keep listening. A lot of good stuff coming.
What is pillar number 2? Talking about topics that allow her to discuss the taboo, freaky, nasty, and forbidden.
Right. This is something I've been touching on a lot lately.
Yeah.
So pillar number 1 was bringing or discussing topics that elevate her power, right? How can she move through the world? What does she have access to? As a reflection of your power, right? The knowledge and skills that you have. So then there's the ability to bring to the table the taboo, the forbidden, the freaky, right? This is the sexual aspects of the conversation. This is the underlying sexual energy, right? And so this is very key, particularly when you're conversing with a woman, because the woman's exploration and experience within society is feminine sexuality should be suppressed and shamed. And so while a man may enjoy female sexuality, enjoy seeing the Instagram model shake her ass, enjoy seeing beautiful women on TikTok or the Reel or the Pinterest or whatever the fuck, right? He enjoys that. But when it comes to the woman that he wants, there is a split of, dang, I don't want those women to stop showing that stuff. I don't want porn to go away. I want to have access to that. But at the same time, I want my woman to not have access to that.
Right.
And so this creates a split within men and women. So because women fundamentally know, okay, we do have this side to us that is the freak, the nasty girl, the most forbidden thoughts and desires that you can conceive of. And we do, well, some have the capacity to also publicly carry ourselves a certain way. However, when a man meets a woman, he puts them in separate categories. There's a woman who's the hoe and there's a woman who's the wife, not understanding that every wife has an inner hoe. But the matter is she going to be, or is she going to reveal that inner hoe for you? Mm-hmm. Now, what makes her reveal that to some men and not others, mostly not others, which is what the shadow world is? Mm-hmm. It's the man's level of comfort within his own sexuality. Mm-hmm. It's his ability to lead the conversation. So if I'm having the conversation with a woman, right, I remember I told the story about that one time where I was at the event, and that girl, I said a few words to her, and I saw her starting to write, mm-hmm. and she ends up writing a mini erotica novel, and then we end up having certain conversations later on, mm-hmm. and because of my verbal openness, I can't remember the details of that combo. Probably a better story I could tell to give that example. But I remember the details of well, I can remember when I was in Carolina, and I was going to be there for a couple hours. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, well, I have the house to myself because it's my uncle's spot, and I had to leave to go, funnily enough, to his birthday party. This was maybe 10 in the morning. I had to leave to go to his birthday party at like, the party was at night, but I had to go get my grandma, then go to the party, which was 2 hours to her, then probably an hour and a half to him. So I had a long bit of driving, and then I'm going to be there. So I was like, okay, I need to leave out from this area about 5 o'clock p.m. And so that's the number I had in my head. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm here by myself because he's not at the house that I'm staying at. I'd like some female company. I like to do that whenever I go to a new area. I'm always like, I want to meet the women. I don't care about the food or the music. Right. And so I'd always do that when I'd go to new cities. So, but you need to have the ability to have seductive conversations so that that woman can reveal to you her true desires and intentions, because the assumption guys have is that women are just, oh my goodness, I hope that this brute, this asshole, this person won't bring up sexuality to me. Them not realizing she's waiting for a guy that she is attracted to be comfortable with his own sexuality so that she can reveal her true desires and intentions. Because if she reveals them to the wrong guy, he'll judge her. And that doesn't feel good. And she'll feel ashamed. And so she only reveals that to certain men who she perceives as being able to handle it because they can handle themselves. And so with this particular situation, I ended up going on an app called Hinge at the time. This is a funny time. Mm-hmm. And this was like maybe 10. And so let's say 10, I don't remember the window, but I remember by 11, it was 11 something by the time I had the match, had the conversation, and we planned, and we planned to meet up. Because I remember the timeline.
Talk about that bonus, how to get from like, you know, you got the bonus where it's like from, to meet up to like.
Oh, you mean how to train them on how to use texting apps and all that stuff. Yeah, yes. Yeah, I said in that because they don't know what I'm talking about on the camera because they haven't seen the video.
Right.
Again, the link will be in the description if you're curious what we're talking about.
Y'all. So y'all can have that
only some guys. You know, some guys I don't think should be clicking that link.
You're right.
Some guys should just stay where they're at. But for those who are the select few, definitely.
Yeah.
And you'll know yourselves. You'll have that feeling, and then you'll check it out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it can be like a shopping cart. It can feel like because that's the thing, guys don't understand what's going on out of their awareness, because they think everything they see is all that's happening.
Right.
If I'd never seen it, it doesn't happen. That is where you're wrong. That's why it's called the shadow world. That which you have not seen happens all the time. That's the shadow world's motto, the slogan. What you haven't seen is happening all the time. Right? So, long story short, because actually, especially when you learn to text things, these things become like clockwork. And so I revealed my hand and brought up, again, pillar number 2. And we flirted, boom, boom, boom. I told her the truth, right? And that's a really critical pillar as well. We'll go later on. Got to head out in a little bit. And at that point, I wasn't supposed to be in town for that long. I ended up being there a little longer, some crazier stories. But, because it actually was probably the least crazy of that entire trip.
Yeah.
But, so I told her I'm new, boom, boom, boom. And she says, okay, I got it. I'm going to show you, like, there was like the downtown area. But this was in the daytime. So it was like, well, I don't even know what we could do for fun. So she tells me about this, it's like a bar arcade kind of vibe, right? So you go in there and play like those old school video games. And so we get there. So yeah, that's where the timeline is. We're going to meet at 1. And we get there, and this was very close to the house, actually even closer to hers, and that's a whole other part to the story. But get to the downtown thing, we meet up, chopping it up, and by, let's say, within, I don't remember, I know if we got there at 1 something, we were headed back to her place around maybe 2:10 or something, because I remember the timelines of when I left, and so, but my point is that I remember the reason I bring up that story is because there was something she said to me as I was talking to her, and my level of comfort with the topics we were discussing. I remember her getting red. It's funny. It was like a blonde girl, like. So she was getting red. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And you're not even drunk, because I don't drink. You haven't drink, something like that, right? Because I remember her offering to ask me if I, and I was like, nah, I don't drink. And so she grabbed a drink, and she was like, I can't believe, more or less she was saying, I can't believe how bold and comfortable you are with the second pillar of seductive conversations, which is discussing we shouldn't talk about it, oh my God. Which is really just being authentic. I've never met a man that was more comfortable being authentic as you. It wasn't pushy, it wasn't over the top, it wasn't sleazy. Right? And that liberated her, because she's like, oh, now I can show I can be free. Right? Because you've revealed to me the container. You revealed to me that the things that I'm thinking and feeling that I only talk about in the girls' group chat, you're also a safe space to discuss that. And so she did. And she told me about many things she liked, many things she wanted to experience. And I was like, okay. And so, being the good Samaritan I am at the time, this younger Vidal, this good Samaritan I was at the time, I couldn't have left her unhelped, and so.
If that's how you want to put it, okay.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good, but no. So I definitely helped her out a little bit, and then it was a great time. It was a great time. I ended up being able to make it to my uncles and grandmas on time and everything. But, just had a fun encounter.
Right.
Right. And that stuff like that happens all the time. like all the time. And the thing is that guys, like, that's like, what? Yeah, and I remember when I was leaving, she's like, man, I wish you lived out here because some other things, reflecting on the experience. But, but more or less that aspect, that non-judgmental, the reality of what happens even though you don't know it happens, the ability to truly give a woman the space to show you who she is really critical. And a lot of guys, because they think women are in two different categories, hoes and wives or whatever the fuck, present themselves as this stuffy guy, thinking that the woman is thinking, oh, well, whew, thank goodness he's one of the good ones, but all she's thinking is you're one of the nice ones. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And those kinds of guys often get frustrated because the nice ones aren't the ones that women get turned on by. But it's not because he's nice. It's because he's scared. It's because he's suppressed. It's because he's repressed. And he has a lot of shame around his sexuality. And so it's a very big deal for him. I can't admit my desire. So they try to go around the corner. Because they've pedestalized sex, and then they project the pedestalization of sex on the woman.
Right.
They think it's the biggest deal in the world, and so they're like, oh, because of blah, blah. And then that energy gets transferred, and she mirrors that. She's like, oh, this guy is not somebody I'm saying. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many women have been like, it's so super refreshing how nonchalant you are about sexuality.
Right.
And that's the only reason the guy approached her, if it's something that he wants to escalate. The big difference is I was attracted to this one and I was not attracted to this one. That's why you went over to her. That's why you want to go over to her. But he's in conflict with himself about that desire. And that conflict produces conflicted conversations rather than seductive ones. And so she's like, well, if you're not comfortable with it, then I'm damn sure not going to have you lead me in that direction.
Right.
No, thank you. Let's just be friends. And so, to recap, in a seductive conversation, a man must be comfortable with playfully. It must be light. It must be fun. It's not this heavy sex, right? And there's this heavy, oh my God, I'm about to say it. Now, in the beginning, if you're unused to this, and I remember when I was practicing getting over that, and guys I've trained to get over that, it takes quite the process, and we have psychological processes that will remove the underlying emotional blocks, but that particular thing can unlock so much, or you're going to forever be one of the guys who never see the shadow roll. You think it doesn't exist? You think it's only some girls? And that's why a lot of guys today watching the online content get frustrated, because now they're seeing the shadow realm stuff is now being put on the internet, right? And it's like, whoa, what? Shattering reality. And I'm like, if only you knew, right? So it's better to have the capacity for it and be that safe space for the woman of your choice. So you are the man she shows her nasty side to, rather than she doesn't feel like she can do that. And that gets suppressed or repressed, and she just keeps you as a friend, or in the worst case scenarios, she outsources that freakiness to some other guy, but keeps you as the primary relationship.
Well, on that note, can you elaborate on the third pillar, and that one being more so about topics that share your interests?
So this is usually where guys think of the average conversation. They're like, oh, do we have things in common? This is where, now there is a misconception about feeling like you need to have things in common. What a woman is checking for, yes, having things in common is useful, but what she's doing is checking more for your underlying traits and your level of comfortability with your own passions. So let's put that in English. She cares about do you love what you're into? And do you care about if she likes it or not?
Right.
So what that looks like is, let's say I'm into Yu-Gi-Oh. The average guy, big Yu-Gi-Oh fan, meets a girl, attracted to her, and he's like, oh, shoot, I can't let her find out I like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, right? She's going to think this about me. Right. And so one guy will go, big Yu-Gi-Oh card fan, and go, oh, yeah, and do everything to avoid it. Or if he mentions it, oh, I'm kind of, you get it.
Not that big of a deal.
Yeah, you know, I'm not that into it, but and it's sub-communication will go, I'm embarrassed about this. Please don't reject me. Please don't judge me negatively. I'm sorry. He's apologetically who he is.
All right.
And you have another guy who's like, oh, I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh since I was 10. This is the best game ever. This is the greatest card game ever. In fact, if you don't play Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I don't know if we can have children together. Right? So I'm going to need you to get on that. Can I trust you to start learning how to play? Even if, obviously he's joking, but even if she's not into it, his disposition towards his hobby, he says, listen, this is who I am, and I'm not sorry. And if it doesn't go with you, blessings. Have a good life. He's not looking for her approval for him to accept who he is and him to accept the expression of his interest. That's right there. The apologeticness versus the unapologeticness. If some guy hears this and understands that, that is what women mean by confidence. That's what women tend to mean by a guy who knows who he is, a guy who's being himself. It's the apologeticness versus the unapologeticness. That's the example I gave the other day when we did that video, and I said, if a guy has a pot belly and he goes up to the girl and he's like, oh, you know, and she's like, oh, you have a pot belly, and he puts his hand on it, is like, rubs it, right? And he's like, yeah, that's what you need in your life, right? You've been messing with them six-pack guys, right? But you need a man like me in your life. You know why? You know why pot bellies are so great? Because it shows I know how to let loose, right? So uptight six-pack guy, you know, always like just on it, needs to be, but you need to relax in life. Life isn't about strain all the time. See, you know, you're part of the matrix. You don't even realize it, right? And so he's just messing around talking shit, right? But the woman isn't hearing the word. She's hearing his energy, his emotional communication. Remember, conversation is transferring of emotion and transferring of information. But for a woman, she's hearing more. She's focused more on the transfer of emotion. For men, they tend to be more focused on the transfer of information. So when they try to talk to women, they try to think, oh, what information am I going to transfer? But the woman is listening, what emotion is he transferring to me? How do I, so I always say, how do I feel in his presence? That's what she's pinging for. How do I feel?
Yep.
Do I like it? Do I not like it? The more I like it, the more I want to be in his presence. Seduction. The more I don't like it, the more I don't want to be in his presence. Rejection. Right? And so, talking about your interests, what she's checking for is the emotional relationship you have with your own interests. What are you into? What excites you? Is coming into your world going to lead to a greater experience for her emotionally? Whether she's into your hobbies or she's like, oh, he's so excited about it, I want to know a little about that. Right? And then your level of detachment to her reaction. I'm this whether you like it or not. I'm not here to sell you on why this or this. That's why I said it earlier, and this was a big unlock with even marketing. And I always use the word marketing, but just telling people about this stuff. I know the guys who take part, life will be transformed. And it's like, huh. And that's something I had to change within, like, learn. I remember as business grows, it's like, you know, we talk about this a lot. With women, one of the key components to unlocking like that next level where you're treated like a celebrity level is actually something that's talked about, but and I'll probably do a video on this, but very rarely truly lived, which which is detachment from outcome. And what that looks like is going up to a beautiful woman, fully engaged, curious, and potentially wanting an exchange to occur, whether that be sex, whether that be a relationship, whether that be your wife. But completely not pretending, completely open with nothing ever happening. And so he goes over and says, hey. Right. And in that hey, the woman is picking up his word and she's picking up his state. She's hearing two things. What he said, how he said it. What he said, what's the emotion? What he said, what's the intention? And so she's feeling the emotional energy of his words. And so he's like, hey, I came over here to tell you you're never going to be my wife, so forget it. Right.
Damn.
Right. Stop it.
Right.
Stop stalking me. Right. Stop. This is a random woman that he just walked up on. Right. I came over here to tell you we'll never be together. Right. Right. I know you're trying to get married. It's too soon. Right. And obviously, the words are saying things that are illogical. We just met. I don't even know who you are. You're talking about me wanting to marry you. But she will feel positive emotions because she can tell he's fooling around. Right. She, depending on her personality type, she may go and push it and go, oh no, you're out of your mind. We're getting married.
Tonight.
Right. You will be mine. Right. And so that is an emotional conversation they were having, not a logical one. Right. He was transferring his state and saying, this is who I am emotionally. And she's going, oh, this is who you are emotionally. I like it. You're fun. What does it mean by you're fun? You make me feel good. You make me smile. When I'm in your presence, I like the feelings I have, especially in comparison to the alternatives. So a man being in tune with presenting who he is, what his curiosities are, what interests him, intrigues him, what does he love to do, the passions, bringing that to the table, again, elevates the woman emotionally and makes her want to come back for more seduction.
What is the fourth pillar, which is, can you elaborate on the fourth pillar, which is talking about topics that reveal your vulnerabilities?
This is one that most guys would not put in seduction, right? What we talked about earlier, in the beginning, the first pillar revealed your power. What are your competencies? What are your areas of strength and knowledge that you can share to enhance your life? Then we went on the sexual things. And these doesn't have to be in a particular order, right? It kind of flow in the combo. Right. Then we just talked about interest. And now we're going to talk about your vulnerabilities and weaknesses. So, funnily enough, a client of mine, so he has, I was going to say, because he's the one, so I have a recorder on my wrist as I'm recording this. So, it's recording my voice. And he has one of these. And so what we've done is, because we were going through a training, it was very critical for me to actually understand and hear what he's saying to women so that we can assess it and improve it. And so in his conversations, he'd have the thing on and he'd record the convos, and then he'd send the recording to me. I'd listen to it and I'd go, oh, your emotional conversation was this, your verbal conversation was this, and then we'll edit, read, and then boom. So one of the first steps of initiating conversation, especially if it's a cold approach, a woman you've never met, a person you've never met. Step one, acknowledge their reality. Hey, excuse me, boom, don't mean to interrupt, see you reading a book, walking down the street, whatever that may look like. Right. So acknowledge that you're stopping them from whatever they're doing. And you're asking for a momentary time and attention, right? Because nobody's entitled to it. And so a lot of guys mess up because They're just going over there.
They just like, girl, fuck what you
right.
Forget what you're doing.
Hey, I'm trying to talk to you. And it's like, bro, like, you're horrible. Like, of course she's not going to be receptive.
Right.
So acknowledge her reality. Hey, boom, excuse me. Yeah, you know, and you can playfully do that. The more advanced you get, the easier that becomes. Mm-hmm. So, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt your rocket science. You seem, right.
I just thought of one. Excuse, like, say if she got, like, headphones in. Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt your erotica, but...
right. No, that takes a bit more balls.
Yeah, no.
Right. I'd say something like, because it's funny to me. but that's what I mean. It's amusing to me, and we'll get into humor is another part of seduction that's a whole different.
Right.
But again, that's all going to be in the training.
Yeah.
And you'll have sprinkles of it for those who can't do the training. You'll have sprinkles of it. It won't be in depth because it's not applied to your specific situation.
Right.
But you'll get general enough stuff. I want everybody to be elevated. Mm-hmm. My goal is to serve those who want to be served, but that's limited. So I know that. But I also want a global transformation on the understanding of women, so that more guys can start getting the relationships they want and deserve. Because a lot of dudes are good dudes. They just suck with women. They're good, solid guys, and the guys who have the propensity to not be as solid tend to be more bold and have a little more of the traits that tend to turn women on. But what if we could get the good guys to learn the skills, right? We talked about authenticity. Yep. You're just a solid human being. Right. But you got to realize that, sorry, bro, like, I don't care what you've been told. Being a nice guy does not get a woman wet. That's not the thing. You can be a nice guy.
You want to get the woman wet, regardless of what society tells you. You want to get the woman wet. Women don't respond well if you ain't getting us wet. It's just the facts.
But that's something guys never hear.
Yeah.
Right. They're like, oh, what? See, a woman talking about sex and the enjoyment of it. And it's just not, you're just going around. Right. Guys think women are just thinking about the weather.
Yeah, no.
And so if they knew the degree to which women are sizing guys up and, oh, okay, and all the time.
How do they think gray sweatpants, how do they think that thing came about? Like, you got to think about where... Like,
you have to have enough interactions with women to know that. Like, that's conceptually understood, maybe, but like actually being around, say 10 women at once.
Yeah.
And literally hearing them tell you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, wow. And they say, okay, what did you think of me? And they'll tell you, if you have that kind of relationship, or you've had the capacity to get them to. If you can show your shadow, they'll typically do so. Right. And if they don't feel like they're going to be judged by the other girls in the room. Mm-hmm. But when you're in situations like that, you'll learn some things about, right? And so that's a whole other conversation. Yeah. But kind of coming back to the I want good guys to also win. Yeah. Like just solid guys, aspiring family men. Mm-hmm. But the first step, you got to be able. You have to be a seductive man, right? You have to be an attractive man. Mm. It's not magically going to come when your job's at a certain point. Right. It's not happening. Trust me. It's not going to come when you waste 2 more years waiting around, oh, when this happens or when I'm at this body fat, right? Well, the girl that you think you're going to end up with when you lose your body fat right now is...
I know what you're going to say.
Let's just say she's having fun with a dude with a little belly on him. Yeah. All right. So get out of your own way and start changing as soon as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. But that's the ultimate thing for me. So I want this. A lot of this is also going to be free. I'm going to give a lot of the game for free, but obviously your unique situation cannot be solved passively. Yeah. But going back to the vulnerability, there's connection between people usually comes both from the interest side, the light, mm-hmm. but also the darkness, my weaknesses,
right,
my fears. So how do I explain this? So because our fears and insecurities are a shadow side of us, right? The strengths and the successes and the confidence we put out. But one of the most seductive things about a man, I remember, so I'm fairly certain this is how this went, but I remember my ex actually, when she initially met me, she thought I was like super cocky and she didn't like me. She didn't like me. She just had internal conflict about how much she liked me. Right. That's really what it was about. That's really what it was about. Because everybody else, I worked at a Planet Fitness. This is right out of college, just to like get out of an apartment, like just to do something. And while I figured out how I was going to transition into my actual field, which was psychology, if you guys didn't know. And so in doing so, it was a lot of fun. I was really young. So long story short, been practicing the social skills, having a good time, we're all laughing. Integrated into the crew very quickly because I knew I wasn't going to be there super long. And there's this one girl, just the most attractive girl there. But I always said it's one of those things where because she was a pretty girl, she was used to that thing that I talked about earlier, where guys are very different with different people, but I wasn't like that. And so she'd claim she tries to talk to me and I'd ignore her, which wasn't true. I just wasn't trying to talk about what she was trying to talk about. I was like, that doesn't interest me. Right. So I just wouldn't talk. But she'd see everybody else liking me. So I think that's really what it was about. Oh, you were so cocky, and I don't get why nobody saw that you were an asshole. It wasn't true. And the reason I say that is because it's going to tie into this very point I'm about to make. Long story short, through a series of variety of circumstances, I didn't live far from the gym, but I wasn't close, maybe a 10-minute drive. And I'd Uber back because I didn't have a car at the time. And she drove and she offered to drive me back. Mind you, at this point, we weren't, I would say, get along. In fact, I think she tried to switch her shift because of me. Because she thought that, right, to just really put it in context. Which is funny because we really interacted. But I think that was the thing that... Right,
that's what was throwing her off. Like, why is this man not...
Yeah. So, because of that, she ends up, again, series of things, because we ended up having a conversation. She ended up giving me a ride back home. And in that car ride, we chopped it up, boom, boom, boom. And I think in that car ride, the projection she was putting on me of what I was actually like with the very little conversation she had, and the reality of what I was like weren't the same. And so that visceral that she thought she had for some imaginary version of me turned into, or I'd say revealed or softened, and because what I always say to guys that love and hate are very similar. They're just opposite side of the fence. And so if you really hate somebody that's always been an asshole to you, and then you hear a little bit of their backstory, which is a very common trope in movies, anime, a little bit of backstory, and you're like, oh dang, that's how they got like that. Oh, that whole time they were getting abused at home, and then that hate transitions to compassion. You're like, dang, I used to hate that guy, but no wonder he turned out like that. Every day his dad was stomping him out since he was in kindergarten, so he just took out the anger on me. And so now what was a really strong hate turned into a really strong bond, right? And so, assuming you guys communicate, he's like, hey man, this was what was going on, right? I apologize. You guys may become actually really good friends because that all the charge of that emotion has nowhere to go, so it converts. So similarly for her, she probably had a lot of visceral around me that she was frustrated about, but when she realized it wasn't real, what she thought I was like wasn't what I was like, it converted into it stacked on the attraction that she already had. And so And one of the things I actually talked about, somehow we got on the topic of boxing or family. And I don't remember how this came up. But I remember this being like one of those things that was very, because I was talking, somehow fighting came up. It's like I don't really watch fighting and things of that nature because I don't like seeing people get hit, right? Whenever I see somebody get punched I always grab that particular part of my body because I can sense the pain or the idea of what it would be like to get that. And so it's very difficult for me to watch people fight, very sensitive to blood, like very, very strong sense of empathizing, right? Gotcha. And so I just don't watch that. I don't protect. Now, my external demeanor, I think probably would, for her, suggest something that would be the opposite of that. Or, the value I place on integrity and not lying and all these subtle little things that from the outside she had just this cocky vidal who thinks this and that she projected, but in the actual conversation left going like, oh, he's like actually like a really, I don't think she still didn't think I was cocky. But from her words back then. Right. But it was more of there's way more depth to him. Mm-hmm. He's actually very intelligent. Like just way more to it than she thought. And slid into DMs after that. And then, it was called Crew at the time. It wasn't the DMs. But it was a girl way of doing it. Mm-hmm. It's that later, I think the day after that, messaged me on the work app thing because we didn't have each other's numbers, and then asking me something about work. I'm like, one, I don't know the answer to that. And two, was this really that deep? Like, and so that's how that ended up blossoming from there. Mm-hmm. But that came from me revealing things about me that don't make me look cool. Right. Because sometimes in a conversation you want the outcome to go a certain way so much that you constantly try to seem impressive. But one of the most impressive things is to be unimpressive. Meaning, if I wanted to connect with somebody very quickly, one of the fastest way for me to connect with them is to relate with their fears and insecurities. Mm. So, if I'm going up and I'm cool, I'm like, it's funny. Oh yeah, that goes back to the story I didn't finish. So that's how the Claude thing came up. So I had the client and he was like, okay. I was like, you can just tell the truth up front and that will establish a really strong connection. Meaning if you're nervous, go up to the girl and say, actually I was really nervous coming up to you, but I just had to do it anyway. So guys typically think, I'm nervous, let me suppress, the fact that I'm going to go over and compensate with it in terms of, hey, baby, some Johnny Bravo like thing, right? And so he was in the rhythm of, getting his approaches in for the day. Mm-hmm. And this particular time, I don't remember what even motivated, but he just, because it was recorded, he went over and he's like, because he gave me a prelude of what was going to happen. He tells me, oh, this is one of the first times I've ever admitted that. And so I listened to the audio, and the girl was just absolutely ecstatic because he goes over there, and he's like, hey, the approach wasn't even that technically good. Like the wording wasn't the greatest, but he was very authentic. Mm-hmm. So I went over hey, you just caught my eye. I'm actually really nervous to come talk to you. But I wanted to come over, something like that. Mm-hmm. And she just started, oh my God, me. And she started like laughing. And, oh, what's your name? I could sense emotionally that the authenticity and the natural attraction she probably had for him opened up a level of receptivity because now she can be him going, hey, I was nervous coming up to you. It operates very similarly to the openness about sex. another aspect of the shadow is your fears and vulnerability and insecurities. Those are things people usually reserve and hide, except for people who they're very close to. So the more fears and insecurities that somebody reveals to you, the closer they perceive you to be to them in their mind. Right. So if it's like, oh, I only tell Vidal this stuff, in their mind, I'm very, very, very high on their hierarchy in terms of importance. I'd speak with women and they always say, like, I never tell anybody that I'm so comfortable talking to you.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because in that space, I'm not pretending to be Superman. Guys think I need to be the most impressive man. I promise you, what's far more impressive is that girl that you're trying to impress feeling more comfortable coming to me with her actual self. And I don't mean in like the gay best friend kind of way. You're still incorporating all these other things. This is why I said the 4 pillars, right? If you miss some of them, then it's going to imbalance the conversation in one way or the other. If you're only enhancing her power, you become something closer to like a professor or like a pastor or a teacher, mentor. If you're only talking about sex and you miss the imbalance, it can be like that's what usually when girls say, oh, you only cares about sex. It's because it's an imbalance. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily the sex. It's not necessarily that she doesn't want to go. It's just it's way too imbalanced. There's nothing else to you. And then if you're only talking about your interests, right, or what makes you laugh and all this stuff, and you're a clown, no sexuality to you, no level of growth or benefiting her life. And then if you're only just vulnerable and there's fears and insecurities 24/7, then you're something like a little brother that is just like needs to be coddled, right? And so it's necessary for all of them to be in balance and to be in flux, and your natural personality type will lean towards some more than others, right? If I had to say, my natural pillars would be probably power and sexuality. I do have interests and that can come up with the humor part. That is but it's people don't even perceive me as funny, even though they're laughing all the time, because the other ones overshadow it so much in how I talk. Mm-hmm. And then the vulnerabilities and stuff, that's something I had to work into my personality. That wasn't naturally there. It wasn't a natural strength. I had to learn to allow myself to be vulnerable. I had to learn to, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make a mistake and bounce back and not have it hit my chest so strongly to where it's self-destruction, that perfectionism. So, yeah, it's to close out that last pillar, it's being able to reveal the truth of fears, insecurities. Hey, I'm nervous right now. Hey, I don't know what, like a really strong quote unquote approach would be go up to a girl and say the truth. Hey, I saw you over there. I thought you were absolutely gorgeous. I have no idea what I'm going to say next, but I had to come say something to you. Hey, what's your name?
Right.
She'll be flattered. She'll giggle. And then to go, oh, my name is da-da-da. What's your name? Oh, shit. What is my name? I don't know what I'm going to say next. All right. He's like, okay, I'm playing now. My name's Brandon, right? Right. And Brandon,
hey.
Right? Behave yourself. But, and then he's like, yeah, so he'll say your name. Is like, so this is the part where I usually lose you, right? So, but his comfort is because women are listening to the emotional language more than they're listening to the verbal. Right. She'll just laugh. Right. So she's like, so Brandon, well, let me help. Where are you from? Right. Thank you. We're going to get along. And the lack of pressure and actual owning of the flaw he's trying to hide will actually keep, because it's more powerful to be authentic than to be inauthentic and know exactly what to do and say. Yeah. So, yeah. But we could go this is why there's a training. This is really why it's so in-depth. Like conversational mastery is a whole different skill set. But yeah, What do you have to share? You have anything that comes to mind?
I just gotta say that, like, these, because it's funny being on the other side of this, because as I'm hearing you describe these different situations and scenarios, like, I can feel the emotional, what would you say, the emotional, like, I can feel emotions arising in me while we just being put into these different scenarios. So, like, just coming from a woman, I can say that, like, the things that you're describing are, like, spot on. Because for me to know, I know that we having a conversation and we not actually in those situations, but still having that emotional reaction just goes to show how strong of, like, how important the conversation is, and not just based off the conversation in and of itself, but the emotion that comes with the conversation. So that's my little 2 cents.
Yeah, it's the ultimate unlock. So, guys, the last thing I'll leave anybody with, if you want to put back action steps into these, if you want to be a little more seductive in your conversation, let's go back over the 4 pillars, and see what we can apply. So if you want to express more power within your conversation, when the next person you're talking to, I want you to focus on what are they up to? Meaning, what are they in pursuit of? What change are they interested in having in their life right now? So they might be wanting to change their body. They might want, and so you can usually ask them, like, I'm really curious. Whenever I meet somebody, I always wonder what motivates them, what drives them, what's just who they are, where they're from. Like, genuine, like, who is this person, right? Because you can be so focused on not wanting to be rejected that you don't actually meet the person. There's no curiosity. Of course they reject you. I wouldn't want to meet you either. You're a leech, right? Energetically.
Right.
So, coming up to me for me to validate you, get out of here, right? So, if you go over there and you actually have a genuine curiosity, and a question you could ask is, what inspired you to do that? So, boom, 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 boom. They tell you something. Oh, if you had a genie's lamp, what would life be like for you? They're going to tell you. And you pick something out and you go, oh, you'd go to live in Brazil. What inspired you to do that? And then they'll go, okay. And you repeat what they say. What inspired that? And that conversation can go for an hour and a half. Just like that. Just by repeating what they say and asking what inspired you to do that. With the sexual conversation, this one is more of an internal game than the external. So I'll give the internal conversation, because there's always 2 conversations going on, the one in your head and the one outside of your head with the person. And so I'd say from the internal conversation when it comes to sex, if there was a quick tip, I'd say ask yourself, if I knew a woman would never have sex with me, would I be pursuing her the way that I'm about to, or the way that I am right now?
Yeah.
The answer is no. Then you know that you're after sex. And then you can say, okay, well, if I do want to have sex with her, why am I so ashamed of that? And then you can ask yourself, and why do I expect her to not want the same? Because it's less about just reducing the relationship to just sex. But you can't pretend you don't want it. You can't pretend it's not a factor, which is what splits guys into the nice guy who hides his sexual desire. The woman knows you want. And then the one that does not hide it. And then you go, nice guys finish last. No, nice guys suppress their sexuality.
Right. Like you said, every woman know that. That's where the saying come from. He only want one thing. We all know that.
But she knows why you're talking to her. She knows why you came up to her. I don't know. Hey, can we grab some coffee sometime? And it's not that you need to go up there. Let me lay it down on you right now. It's just that you're not ashamed.
Right.
You might never mention it, but your sub-communications lets her know what kind of guy and what category you are in. Mm-hmm. And then the external conversation, I'd say, this is a tricky one because this doesn't have one application, but I'd say if you want to get more comfortable talking to sex about women, don't ask. She had a client do this. Don't ask shit like, "Oh, so what's your favorite position?"
Oh my God! No, you didn't have it.
Because it's not even the question in and of itself. It's just
how is
it is usually kind of like used as a checkbox. It's like, oh yeah, I need to. Meaning
I
like
need to put sex in.
Yeah. So, what's your favorite position? You know, like it's
instead
just
of letting the conversation
right.
flow, and it's like you know, like in the you know the little teasing thing that you be talking about, where,
right?
Like
right. Don't worry, I know you're like a biter.
Right.
You'll scratch me the fuck up. Right? Like something like that.
Little subtle.
So actually, that's a good way. Rather than ask, if you want to practice sexual, adding sexual tension, adding flirting to a conversation, do so with teasing assumptions. That's probably the best beginner thing. Yeah. Then super high level is that. Then like the just super graphic
right. But if you went level 1, don't be trying to do level 10 stuff.
Yeah, don't. Like the thing from that story where that girl's like, oh my God, that's a far higher level of, you have to be very good with body language, very good at reading the room. Yeah, like there's just so much more to that.
What level would, like, you know, the example that you gave about, and this was in another video, you gave us the example of saying like, oh, you wore that dress today, you looking for trouble. Like, ain't that like the first level?
It's a little higher than first. If it's a beginner guy, I wouldn't have him go to, like, if he's already on the date or something, like there's already an established mutual interest, then fair enough. If he's doing that and he doesn't know she's interested, if he's just super green and he's in the workplace and he's not that guy and he just
that could go so wrong.
Right, he watched the video and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go. No. So that wouldn't be level 1.
Lose his job. Right. Sexual harassment.
Right. So that takes a bit more training, a bit more nuance.
Right.
A level 1 would be something that's, because we have 3 levels of where we talk about things about the environment, we talk about things about the person, talk things about the relationship.
Right.
So a light tease would be like something that is not directly sexual, but has sexual undertones or just a fun, playful vibe. So it may be something like something simpler. Your trouble. Right? Your trouble is a very easy thing to say. That's very flirtatious and very easy to get out of. You can twist your trouble in any way if you get scared and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to. It's like your trouble. Right? Light level teasing would be the basics. Your trouble. You're going to be a problem. Right? What is a tease? It's something that does not flatter the woman, but does so playfully.
Right.
So it's saying a statement that should be an insult, but because of the emotional communication underneath it, it's well received.
Right.
You're gonna be trouble. I need to get away from you soon, don't I? Right? Like that type of stuff is like, I'm gonna regret this, won't I? I shouldn't have come on this date. Let me escape before it's too late. Right? These things that push the woman away verbally, but emotionally
is
inviting her and it's implying a future encounter, right? So if it's something upping that more sexually would be more like I'm trying to think of a situation. Let's say it's a case where it's actually let me use a real example because I'm trying to think of, I remember this one girl who I met it was this place I used to go to, not a work environment, but it was her work environment. Long story short, we ended up meeting up after she left that. And I told her not to come by. Like, she kept going, oh, we can hang out, we can be friends. I was like, we can't be friends. And She's like, why not? I was like, we both know why not.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She said, oh, why not? And I said, because we'll end up having sex. And she's like, you think you're so such and such and blah, blah, blah. I said, no, it's not that. I mean, am I wrong? She's like, you wouldn't answer. So I was like, okay, then I don't think we should hang out alone. Like, that doesn't make sense. She's like, no, we can. I was like, okay, we can be friends. And I was like, the only way we're going to be friends is if
We don't.
well, it was more like there has to be a very clear thing where your friends were. I'm not gonna. What do you think that looks like? Me just, this is happening right now. My friends are people who I'm doing a particular thing with. So what do you want to? So she's like, okay, we can grab drinks and then figure out how we can help each other, right, in life. I was like, okay, I'm game, because it's not like I had to have sex with her. But I knew what this was, and I knew that no basis, no constraints, no nothing. She's just coming by my house and hanging out and chopping it up. I just know that that's what the real thing is.
Sex starter kit.
All right. And so this was a while back too. So long story short, comes by after that we grabbed drinks and we had a combo, which is why it wouldn't be a good idea. And I hadn't seen her for like a month and a half. And she reaches out, so she ends up coming by to catch up, and wears, I don't know what, I call them temptation pants. I don't know what the technical term,
you talking about the bell bottom pants?
Right, the ones with
the leggings with the bell bottoms. They basically
right, and the frilly patterns and stuff.
Yeah, the patterns on them.
And I was like, she came out, I was like, she's like, what? I was like, really? She's like, what? So of all the pants you had to wear, those are the ones you decided to go with because you wanted to stay friends with me. And she's like, I just grabbed something. I was like, go upstairs. Come on. And so, long story short, we shook hands that night. And so...
I'm so done with you.
Shook hands and I helped her with her homework. But, that could have been a tempting situation for me.
You play too much.
Right. I helped her with her math. And, yeah. So, but my point is that I joked with her about the very thing. I was like, you knew what you were doing when you wore those pants. She's like, no, they're not. They're just pants. Now, that's a little more personal. But it's a similar tease-like assumption. Right? Mm-hmm. And so, again, that's deeper game. But I wanted to give guys something practical. Now, as far as the interest, you already do that naturally. The only thing I'd shift is to, when you're sharing it from a place of, if this person, with the disposition, if this person says, you're weird or I don't like you because of your interest, be like, okay, be more detached. How to do that is, I can't, it's too personalized. That's like a psychological process you'd have to go through, writing exercises and all that we can't do on this video. And then fourth one, vulnerability. I'd say with that one, it's more asking yourself the question, what don't I want people to find out about me and why? What don't I want people to find out about me and why? Because a lot of your conversation, a lot of your bravado is a reflection of what you don't want people to find out. I don't want them to know I'm nervous, so I'm going to act however I need to act to make them not know I'm nervous. I don't want them to know that I'm feeling insecure right now, so I'm going to act the way that it's not the insecurity or the nerves, it's how bothered by it you are. Right? It's very different from just dumping emotionally on someone. It's saying, hey, this is there. I'm going to conquer it, and it's all good. Right? Hey, I was nervous to come talk to you. Didn't stop me, but I'm going to let you know the truth. That's pretty much all you need so you can get started with better conversations today. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah. So if you're watching this and it's after September 26th, 2025, then it's no longer available. There might be something else available for you to join at by that time whenever you're seeing this. But if not, then just check out the videos that I have on the channel. There are a lot of good things that you can take advantage of. And there's plenty more to come. But I'm looking forward to, I think I'm going to be meeting some really cool guys. It's going to be a good time.